Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series, Interviews with Disciples and Devotees. Today I'm honored to have Rashmi with us. Namaste, Rashmi.
Namaste.
The first question I ask everyone is, how did you first hear of Sri Aurobindo and Mother?
Well, I, like many other people whom you have interviewed, I came here as a tiny toddler. I was just 2 years old, so yeah. So I was brought by my parents.
What year was that, Rashmi?
This
Do you
was
remember?
62,
Huh?
1962.
62.
Yeah.
My gosh.
So that was, you were maybe already there.
I was here,
Yeah,
yes.
you were there.
In
Yeah.
61, yeah.
So that's when we came in, but my parents did come before I was born in around 55, 54. They brought the other children who were elder to me, like Chetna Ben, Tapas Ben and Manan Bhai. These three, they were already here, but they had to go back and then come back finally 62 when we sort of settled down here. Yeah. So we really didn't have to hear about him. We just were brought here. Like Jumurti came here when she was 2 years old.
Yes.
And I found her interview also so interesting.
Oh, and have you heard her reading of the sonnets yet?
Sonnets, no.
They've
I
just been posted.
okay. I didn't.
2 different readings, and
But
now
the last part of her interview is the reading of Savitri, which was so vibrant.
Yes.
Wow, amazing.
Yes. She's a special soul.
Yeah.
So, of course, did any of your family ever meet Sri Aurobindo?
Yes. My father and mother, Vibhu Bhai Bhatt, and my mother, who is Urmila Bhatt, they were married with Sri Aurobindo's blessings in 1942. And my father was a good friend of Jumurdi, a very good friend of Jumurdi, of Chamdi. Cham, you know Cham?
Yes, Cham, I
Chamdi,
remember.
Laiti. These were all very good friends of my father. In the early 40s. So that was my father's story, but it doesn't end there. We still have to go further back because my father's father, he came, I think, in 1928 or 29. So he was one of the doctors to Sri Aurobindo. And his name is Dr. Becharlal Bhatt. So he's our grandfather. But he doesn't even stop there because my grandfather came in touch with Sri Aurobindo in Baroda because they were colleagues under the Gaikwad of Maharaja of Baroda. So my grandfather was the doctor to the Gaikwad, and Sri Aurobindo was the principal or the professor.
Yes.
So they used to work together under the Gaikwad in Baroda in the early first decade of the 20th century. So that was when the whole story started off. That was an early...
I'd like to hear more about Dr. Bechalal, if you would.
Sure. Dr. Bechalal, he was a very stern and disciplined person, extremely very introvert, and he was, I don't know much about him because I've never met him, but of course Tapas, Chetna, Manan, they
all knew him.
They all knew him because they were born before me. So, and of course there were some sadhaks who, he was not a very outgoing person like Nirodha was, or the other attendants were Satyendra, Dr. Satyendra. He was a very outgoing person. He used to love, embrace people and give the touch of Sri Aurobindo through his hugs, no? You remember him at the Nantai?
Vaguely.
It's Dr. Satyendra, who was staying next to Ambu. You know Ambu Bhai, the
yes,
yoga
very well.
teacher, yeah.
I did a whole series of photographs of Ambu.
Okay.
Haven't posted them yet, but I should. Yeah, I have posted them on the internet.
Okay.
All of his asanas.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So Dr. Satyendra was a neighbor to Ambubhai at the Nantai, and he used to love hugging people because he used to sort of emit the vibrations of Sri Aurobindo. He had the fortune of being with Sri Aurobindo for 12 long years, no?
Oh, yes.
So the 6 attendants who were the regular attendants were chosen by the mother when Sri Aurobindo had the leg injury in 1938. So
Dr. Sanyal, I think, was there.
Dr. Sanyal was an external. So he used to come and go from Calcutta. The fixed ones were, of course, Nirodha, Mulshankar was another gentleman who got killed during the 1947 riots. And there was Dr. Satyendra, Dr. Becharlal, my grandfather, and Dr. Manilal. Manilal was also one of the principal doctors of Sri Aurobindo. I think he was the main doctor. Apart from Sanyalda, but Dr. Manilal was definitely a very important doctor. Nirodha was there, of course. But what is very interesting that I met Dilip Da, our Dr. Datta, the other day, and told him the story of dispensary, which was our ashram dispensary, which was started early in 1930 by my grandfather. And I have a letter, we have a letter to Dr. Becharlal from Sri Aurobindo of 1932, I think, which says, Dr. Becharlal, I have it on my phone. Dr. Becharlal, for your kind information, we have finally found a young doctor has come from England, and he will replace you at the dispensary so that you can concentrate more on your sadhana. So this was, I have the letter, and I showed it to Dilip Da, and he was so touched by this story, because that's really when the transfer takes place from my grandfather to Dr. Nirod Baran. And Nirod Baran took it up, the dispensary, and then he continued for many years. Of course, I think after him there was
Nipendra.
Yeah. And then, of course, then there is Dilip Da. So that's a long story, very interesting story.
Very.
That letter is very interesting, and I showed it to also Nirodha when he was alive. Nirodha was extremely close to us because he was a good friend to my grandfather. He was a junior to my grandfather, so he used to love us all a lot. So, and he knew that I live in Italy, and he used to love Italian. Nirodha, he wanted to learn Italian. He was learning Italian. So, and so that was my grandfather. Not many people know him a lot because, of course, he is there in the book by Nirodha, 12 Years with Sri Aurobindo. But he was very introvert, so he didn't go out of his way to meet. I just met Gangaranda before he passed away the other day to take my pass. So Gangaranda, I told Gangaranda that in Dada's house, Pranab Dada's house, my grandfather used to stay there before Dada came to the ashram. So he didn't know about this, and I have a photo with Dada where when I told Dada also that I had also spoken about this to Dada, and we took a photo together. That was before he passed away. And we have very rare photos of Dr. Becharlal with Sri Aurobindo, and they are clicked by Vidyavrata. Yeah, and there is also Champaklalji. So.
Oh, marvelous.
And
so let's go back now and talk a little about your schooling here in the ashram.
That
And your
narrative.
teachers.
Yeah, oh my God. That is the most blessed period of my life. My God. The schooling is like a shower of blessings that I still reckon is one of the most beautiful things that have happened to me. It's amazing the privilege to be part of the ashram schooling. In fact, just after my interview here, I have students coming from the north, from Srinagar, whom I have to take them around the school and explain to them what is this fabulous fairy-like story that the school is. Even today, I don't know how school is today, but in our times, I had the fortune to be part of the free progress system. So I am a pure 100% product of the free progress system that mother.
So did Tanmay teach you?
Yeah, Tanmaida, Guru Prasad, Krishna Bhai. These are the teachers who are extremely important in my upbringing.
What about Sunil?
Sunilda, the teacher. Well, I had the fortune of, he was a very close friend of my father, Sunilda. Well, Sunilda, my father used to learn sitar from Sunilda and Romenda. You remember Romenda?
I remember.
Romenda was a good friend of our father, Vibhubai. So Sunilda, but I never spoke to him really. I used to be taken by either Torunda, who was my tabla teacher, for some recordings of Sunilda. There was one dance of the Tandava dance in the Savitri music where Sunilda needed some tabla. So of course Torunda played, but I accompanied Torunda because I was the, let's say, the senior most student of Torunda. I was his favorite. So I was taken there, and of course I was there during the recording session. But also Chote, remember Chote? Victor.
Yes.
That is Kake's...
Kake's brother.
Yeah, Tara's youngest brother.
Yes, right.
So he used to take me because Chote himself was a tabla player. He was one of the earlier tabla players. Yeah. So he was fond of me. So I was a kid. He used to take me there and expose me to what a recording session is like. And
did you ever sing for Sunil?
No. Sunil, that was something so high above us. So we had sheer admiration for Sunilda. So, but
tell me a little about your teachers. What you remember in the free progress system.
Oh, free progress system, Narad was really definitely, I still relish every single moment of the free progress system. And you can't imagine how much gratitude I have in my daily life. I travel a lot for my work, I sort of art direct festivals of Asian art forms, performing arts, like I invite musicians from all over India, but also from Japan, Vietnam, and East Asia. So, and I also sometimes when I have free time, I also perform. I play the percussions, from African percussions to Indian percussions to Arab percussions. So I travel a lot for my work. But in a very silent way, I encounter musicians from all over the world, from Afghanistan to Kurdistan to Turkey, to Arab countries, Morocco, Senegal, Spain, Italy.
Have you met any in Aurobindo?
I'm sorry?
Have you met any musicians in Aurobindo?
No, all these musicians, I meet them in Europe.
In Europe, okay.
And then, in fact, when I'm soon going back, my countdown has started, so I'm leaving Pondicherry. I'm going to Morocco soon. And there I'll be performing with a Celtic harp player and a oud player from the south of Morocco. So these musicians there, and the chemistry that takes place between two musicians, even if I don't know him at all, I just meet him there, and when we have to make music together, it is absolutely sheer magic what happens in that instant. You know, we don't read music like in the West, so we sort of look at each other, the instruments, and so much magic takes place in that instant when we have to make music.
Is it almost all improvisation then?
Total improvisation and listening.
Yes.
So it's a dialogue, you know. So Arab tradition of music is a very ancient tradition. So I play a lot with the Tuaregs, you know, from the deserts of south of Morocco. And I really love doing that because they have very complex polyrhythms that I like. For us Indian musicians, it's very easy to deal with such sophisticated structures of rhythms and melody.
Because you've been brought up with that.
Yeah, we have such a huge advantage, Narad, because we are trained to listen. We don't read our music, no? So we are trained to listen, we are trained to adjust, we are trained to analyze on the spot what the other guy is proposing. So if you tell me a melody, it takes me, if the melody has a cyclic rhythm, it takes me 2 cycles to make a radiography of the melody, you know. Like, just take any example. Ta 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 ta. So I did it twice, 2 cycles. So in these 2 cycles, what happens? Immediately my counting starts taking place. You know, in Indian music we count on our fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So if the melody is of 16 beats, I immediately count, okay, this is the first beat of the cycle, this is halfway through, and what note corresponds to what beat
yes.
of the rhythmic cycle. So all this training helps you immediately to analyze a proposal, a melodic proposal, and this takes place in a fraction of a second, and we immediately connect without any paper, you know.
And you have found this with so many different musicians.
Amazing, and they find it stunning. How do you connect so well? Because that is fun with Indian music, you know. They train us to listen. But anyway, I don't want to go too much into detail about all this, but it was to tell you that my life is so totally immersed into music, but not one instant of musical creation, be it on the administrative side when I organize a festival, or be it in the performing side when I perform with the musicians, that my thought goes to Aurobindo and the mother, of course. So that is absolutely, that remains like a soundtrack of my life. So even if I am in the deserts of Morocco, or on the beaches of Senegal, or in Brazil, or in France, or wherever, up on the mountains in Austria, I have always Mother and Aurobindo with me, which really takes... I never speak about them to anybody, but they are, let's say, the quintessence of my of all my experiences, work experiences. So, my work is, I'm so passionately in love with my work, Narad. All this creativity that is so innate to my nature, to my swabhav, is like a blessing. And I always feel so strongly blessed by the mother in Sri Aurobindo, but also by Devi Saraswati, who has always blessed me with so much of creativity. So it's a very amazing life that I conduct in Italy. I live in Italy. I live in Rome.
You live in Rome?
Yeah.
How did you meet Agni?
Agni is a fantastic person. I really admire Agni because he has a wonderful ashram center in the middle of Italy.
And they've invited me.
Okay, you must go there. You must go there.
Really?
Yeah, you must go there because it's like a small ashram. And I've been there, I've taken many people there. Devi Prasad Ghosh, who is such a wonderful musician. How much I miss Devi Prasad Ghosh. He is really my soul brother. And he really invited me into the marvelous world of Indian classical music. Devi Prasad Ghosh and Tubluda. You know Tubluda?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
yes.
these were the two who Torunda trained me up. Shobhadi trained me up.
Oh.
These are people who are extremely close to my spiritual growth, Shobhadi and Torunda. But Tublu and Devi Prasad Ghosh are two pure Pakka musicians, 100% musicians who were my gurus, because they invited me to perform outside with them because there was always a dearth of tabla player in Pondicherry. Because Pondicherry being a South Indian state, South Indian city, we never had good tabla players here. Because it's a land of mridangams and tabil and all the South Indian fabulous percussions, but they don't have the sweetness that the tabla has. So tabla being a North Indian drum instrument is very rare. It's like finding mozzarella in Norway. Mozzarella is a typical South Indian, South Italian cheese.
Yes.
So in Norway you can't find a mozzarella. So the same, I explain this whenever I talk about South Indian and North Indian music in Italy. So,
well, I'd like to go back to the free progress system and your teachers for a little while.
Did you ever had the occasion to teach or
I
be
did
with
teach
the
in
Indians
ashram for a
with the
little
ashram
while,
school?
but it was the younger ones. Well, no, it was older ones too. I was teaching Western music.
Oh wow!
For a little while.
Which year was this?
61.
Oh my God!
And I had an ashram choir that
wow.
sang to Mother by the Samadhi.
I saw one very rare photo of yours at the theater with the mother. Is that possible?
Yes, I was there.
Yeah. And who were your students?
Manoj Dasgupta,
Okay.
Tublu, Ravi Bala.
Okay. She went into choir. She became a soprano, I think.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
marvelous voice.
Yeah.
And
Ravi
many,
Bala.
many others. Richard Pearson, and so many.
My
Gosh,
God.
I have a photograph of all of them when I was conducting.
Okay.
And it's an incredible story of Mother. And
Amazing.
Mother asked me to stand by the Samadhi with the group.
Oh, wow.
And she came down and opened that little window right
Yeah,
there.
wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, this is interview with you. So now you have to tell me a little bit about your teachers and what made Free Progress so extraordinary.
Extraordinary, really, something so extraordinary, and I feel so blessed. It has formed my mind in such a way that I still feel so humbly a student, even today. And it's a unending education that I'm going through. I have never stopped feeling a student. But that's kind of the magic they create in us, the teachers. So the teachers who I really used to connect a lot was Krishna Bhai. Krishna Bhai is Arun Bhai's younger brother. Arun Bhai, who does the recording. In fact, I would be so glad if you can manage to interview him.
I've tried.
Oh my God.
But
because he was doing all the...
you may have to talk with
Oh
him.
my God. Arun Bhai...
I'm willing to do it any moment at his convenience.
He's a very good friend of mine. I mean, Arun Bhai, because he did all the entretiens,
Yes.
of the mother, which are such precious recordings.
Yes.
So Arun Bhai should be interviewed. But Krishna Bhai, his younger brother, was, let's say, my soul brother and soul teacher. He really trained me up with such precious gifts he gave me in my life, like concentration, and like every evening he used to train me up to when the group is over, when the sports session is over and it's like 7:30, before going to Corner House for my dinner. Corner House is our ashram students' canteen.
Yes.
So he used to tell me to come to the silence room in the free section part of the school and do a quiet meditation, go through right from 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening what you did. So that sort of helps you at the age of 12, 13, you start
Yes.
connecting already with yourself.
Yes.
And this training, I did it for many years, and thanks to this simple exercise, I have a contact with myself, which very rarely is thought about or conceived of in the Western form of education, this connection with your own self, but when you're a kid. So the kids grow up in the West without any contact with their own self. So this was just one example that free section gave me. It's a small, tiny little thing, but I have such a good contact with myself. But that's since childhood, and so that was one of the most precious things. Another very interesting thing I remember of my free section education, free progress education, was that I was invited to attend the classes of astronomy. I was 13. Astronomy was such a new subject. I didn't even know there was a subject called astronomy. So that sort of created an explosion in my curious mind. So even today, I live in Rome, and I am a part of the astronomy. It's called astrophily, that is lovers of astronomy. It's a club. It's a club of people who love astronomy. And we have a very potent telescope up on the hills, about 1,600 meters high up.
Oh.
And so once a month we have observation session, but we sort of, it's called divulgazione, how do you say that in English? In fact, my English is really bad because I never get a chance to speak English. So I don't know it's like making it popular, astronomy. How to bring astronomy to the local people, So so that passion comes from the free progress system, where we used to go observe the sky even till 2, 3 in the night, because there was a partial lunar eclipse, and we used to go up on the top of the library, where they still have the telescope. And Dilip Bhai was also one of my later teachers of astronomy, astrophysics. So that was another very important part of my passion. I'm still passionately in love with astronomy, astrophysics. So these are things that the free progress system gives you, these passions that they don't die.
Yeah.
Music. It's thanks to the free progress system. I am totally my whole being is immersed into music, into astronomy, into all that's beauty and wonderment.